you can get a 6 in the States, you can easily get an 8 overseas. It's like that for real. What I've noticed is that um, they're not really they don't really make that a priority as much as the women in the States. It seemed like over in other countries, well, at least what I've been in Colombia, I don't know. It seems like they seem like they value character and consistency a little bit more. So it's like,
Some of the complaints I've heard from men is that in America you need like game and swag and to be a superhero, right? I've heard them say that a whole lot, where they like, I gotta make money, I gotta be funny, I gotta be tall, I gotta be attractive, and in order just to have a halfway decent wife. Do you like, if you were to compare like if you were able to get like a 6 in America, what do you think that would be in Colombia for you?
an 8 easily,
So
an
go up
8,
to.
an 8 easily. To be honest with you, I'm like the women that I've spoken to. I'm like the women that I've talked to. If you put these women in the States, they they probably, good lord. I'm like, guys in the States will probably see them as 9s and 10s. Um, they will probably get overwhelmed, and eventually their ego will probably balloon, and they will probably end up getting westernized, in my opinion. But I would say, yeah. I mean, if you can get a 6 in the States, you can easily get an 8 overseas. It's like that for real. What I've noticed is that um, they're not really they don't really make that a priority as much as the women in the States. It seemed like over in other countries, well, at least what I've been in Colombia, I don't know. It seems like they seem like they value character and consistency a little bit more. So it's like as long as you're, I don't want to say constantly like giving them attention, but just letting them know that you're interested. You don't have to play that game of, oh, I don't want to hit her up too much because she's going to think I'm too thirsty, or I'm gonna wait this amount of time to hit her up so that way she doesn't think I'm too thirsty. It's like you can just kind of you can just kind of be yourself, and just as long as you're just respectful and be a gentleman, like for real, you can win. For
Okay.
real.
I got a quick question. You're 23. How
Oh
much
no, I'm
opportunity?
37.
Austin
Oh, you're
is.
37. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I was
right.
referring to Austin.
Solomon was 23. Okay. Um, how much travel have you done in the United States? Have you been coast to coast? And because what I've learned, I've been coast to coast, north to south. Each section of the country has its own personality, and inside of those personalities, you got different types of women. Have you take done the same type of due diligence that you're doing overseas, stateside?
Be brutally honest with you. No, I haven't. I mean, I've definitely traveled in the States. I've been to Florida, Atlanta. I recently went to New Orleans back in September. Went to Utah in like, what was that, like June. Um, I wouldn't say like coast to coast because I've never really been to the West Coast. Be honest with you, I don't think West Coast women are for me. Um, I mean,
Why you
just
say?
based just based. I don't know. It just West Coast women just seem to come off like they're very, very high maintenance. I don't know what it is, and I mean,
Not all.
like I said, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I mean, if Coach K is from Cincinnati, Ohio, I'm like she probably has a better idea of what my kind of speed. If you're from the Midwest, you're typically not really looking for that super high maintenance, fast paced kind of woman. You're looking for more of a chill. I mean, I'm a very chill, relaxed dude, so um, I would say, if it came down to stateside, honestly, I would probably be thinking South Side. I've always liked Southern women. I've always appreciated the Southern hospitality. Um, you know, because I've been to Texas before as well. So I mean, like I said, I'm always open to it. But I mean, because I will agree with you. Based on what part of the country they're from, there could be different personalities. Like I remember hearing one YouTuber, I think, let's see, Real Film Sapien, she was saying, like the best bet is probably to go Midwest. So but Cincinnati, Ohio is kind of like,
It's a nice mix.
it's a nice mix, but like it's
Not as I guess hospitable and probably open and welcome as the South, for
yeah,
sure. But you
yeah,
do get a lot of different, yeah.
Well, it's just that again, I've traveled a lot, and if I'm going to do something, let's say I'm going to do something diligently, like my goal now, right, is to get married, have a family. If I'm going to do that, I I would first consider all of my options where I'm at before I hopped on a plane and flew somewhere else to pick up a different culture. Because one of the things that I don't know if any of you passport bros even really put a lot of thought into, especially if you're going to stay in the other country. I understand the money aspect, but there's a piece of you that's here. And what you will, what I think you will get to find out is that you're going to have little urges. For example, I was we're going to get to this later in the show, but I dated a white woman, right? And I would have urges to go play spades because that's just what I used to do. And I know that's something small, but she wouldn't understand, like, why? Well, shit, that's what we used to do, right? So it's just those are things to keep in mind when you're over there. Not only now are you making that international telephone call to just catch up with one of your old friends, you can't just go, let's say, next door to catch up with one of your old friends. And their culture is going to be so different. It's one thing to sample the culture and love the culture because Japan is gorgeous, just throwing it out there. But it's one thing when you go visit, it's another thing when you live there, and you'll I imagine you'll likely start to miss some of the culture that is in fact here stateside. So just keep that in mind as you journey, bro.
yeah. It's funny you mentioned spades too, because I love playing spades. Damn,
I
damn.
was gonna ask. I know we're talking about the women there, but how have the men, I guess, received or responded? Because I know, like, in certain neighborhoods, growing up, like guys would not allow other dudes from certain other neighborhoods in that neighborhood to mess with the chicks from there. So is that an experience that you've had, or they seem to be just as welcoming and don't care?
I actually had that
So
experience.
yeah. Oh, my bad, bro. I was gonna say, actually, I have not experienced that yet. I mean, for the most part, they have been very welcoming, very helpful. Um, and I guess the fact that I've taken the time to brush up and try to learn more Spanish, I think that's helped too. Um, and that's something that I advise for a lot of people that have traveled, because when you show that you're taking the time to at least try to learn the language and take in the culture, I'm like, they appreciate that a lot. I mean, that's both male and female, but I think with the males, I think they definitely makes you makes them more accepting of you. And so I'm like, so far I have not experienced that yet whatsoever.
So I'm mistaken. I actually did experience that when I was in Lebanon. They like have a real like color, like it was like a colorist type of scenario where the men in there was extremely protective of the women when you would be out in clubs, to the point that they're trying damn near jump you, like
Mm.
they're riling them up or trying to insult them about dealing with like black men, or I don't know if it's because I'm American or black, but it kind of was a racial caste
Both.
system.
It was both.
Yeah, and when I was living in the Dominican Republic, though, I did not experience it. I really think it depends on the place you at and the culture of the people. Um, so yeah, I don't think South America is as bad as probably some of the places in the Middle East.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I've been told that I kind of blend in here, because you'll see a lot of people down here that are like the same skin complexion as me. In some cases, even darker. And the fact that I do know a little Spanish kind of helps me blend in even more too. So, yeah, that's probably why I haven't experienced that down here.